again. I sat next to Maya. Then I started thinking, okay, so I own a restaurant. This myself as a blogger. I went from going to clients to say, can I blog about your business? And they would ask me, what is a blog and why should I be on your blog?
We are here to sharpen one another.
Right now, we are going to hear more about the digital world. Recently, in the new cabinet, if you notice that the Ministry of Information was revised, it's now the Ministry of Information and Digitization, meaning that the digital world is a very critical thing in our age. And right now, as I invite our next speaker, who is going to talk about why we need to be digitally connected, let me just introduce to you who she is. Her name is Nthanda Manduwi. She's from Bien Corp Africa. She's actually the founder and managing director. She is a published author, a blogger, internationally awarded speaker and media icon, a human rights and policy advocate, a media producer. She is a graduate with a bachelor's degree in social science from the University of Malawi and is currently pursuing a Master of Science in Entrepreneurship, specializing in modeling information management. She wears many hats, but this is just a few of the many things that she is doing. And she is here to just give us her presentation on the importance of being digitally connected. Nthanda, this is your time.
All right. So a few days ago, I posted on my Facebook page celebrating 10 years, a decade in the Malawian digital media industry. And somebody commented, do we have a digital media industry in Malawi? You know? Which was a very good question and worth discussing. Malawi is only just now digitizing. I do have 10 years of experience in the digital media industry, and I know some would ask, but you're just 26, so where do the 10 years come from? So digital media is a very interesting field. I got into digital media in 2012. I am very passionate about storytelling. I think when you hear about me, you hear of the businesswoman, and I think what pains me the most is the creative behind it all disappears. They hear the businesswoman, they hear the awards, the achievements, but they forget about that there is a creative behind it all. So my name is Nthanda Manduwi, and I identify as a creative. I'm a storyteller, a very good storyteller. I love telling stories, I always have. So when I was about 15, I would write, I would read books, and I discovered digital storytelling. I discovered blogs. So I would find people from Kenya who were telling their stories via websites, and I was like, okay, this is quite interesting. I could do this. So in 2012, I learned how do you create a blog, how do you start sharing on websites, and how do you connect with an audience. So I started in 2012 reading up, learning about how other people were doing it. And in 2013, I started my first blog. It was a hair blog. I think if I look in the audience now, I'm seeing a lot of afros. If you remember in 2012, you know that was not a normal thing. So I had texlaxed hair, not natural hair, but just texlaxed. And it was such a huge concept that, oh, you don't have relaxed hair. And there was so much discourse and conversation around that. So that's how I started out my journey. I was just writing about hair. But there was an audience that I had who would talk and would engage through digital platforms. And in 2014, I had my first heartbreak. I broke up with my first boyfriend in university. And the one thing that he had told me is, I need you to find something that you enjoy doing that is outside of me. You know, he was my boyfriend, he was my obsession, we did everything together. And he said, but I want you to discover other things outside of me. And in a moment, obviously, I was hurt. I was like, oh, okay, you don't want to be with me, okay. But I was like, okay, let me find something. And I found that digital platforms were my passion. So I'm from Mangochi. I was born and raised in Mangochi, although I'm not a Yao, but that's a different story for a different day. I'm not a Yao, I am a Sena and a Tumbuka, but my parents were settled and they work and they pretty much now live in Mangochi. My mother is the first female ship captain of Malawi, and my father is a marine engineer, so they work together on the Malawian ships cruising the Lake Malawi. So that's how I ended up in Mangochi. So in 2015, I thought, Mangochi is so gorgeous, but it's not anywhere on digital platforms, you know? You Google, I mean, even today, after all the efforts over the past 10 years, you still Google Malawi and you still find some very questionable pictures of selling Malawi. And I have traveled around Africa to Mombasa, to Zanzibar, and I'll tell you, if you go to Zanzibar, it is just a glorified Mangochi. When you look around beyond how it's been perfectly branded, it really is just like Mangochi. You will see the exact same huts that you see in Mangochi. The roads are terrible, my goodness. But they have perfect digital branding. I think my amigo, when he was talking about it, about his success, and how Rwanda very quickly jumped on that and claimed it as their success. Our friends have mastered the art of digital storytelling, and they're always talking about the successes and how great their countries are doing. If you go on Malawian social media, we're very good at talking about what's bad about us. So if you find Malawi, it's corruption, it's who did what and who did what, never the good stuff. I traveled to Rwanda. Again, Kigali is just another glorified Lilongwe, although they're developing much faster. But they are so good at positioning their stories so well, telling the correct stories, and that's something that we need to master as Malawi as well. In 2016, well, that started in 2013, but in 2016, I started my pageantry journey. So in 2013, I was Miss Chancellor College, and in 2016, I was first runner-up Miss Malawi. And that's when I thought about getting more serious in the media industry because I had the spotlight on me. And I thought, what more can I do in the digital storytelling space? So I would work with other young people to tell stories. And I started now navigating. If you read about me online, you know that I identify as a jack of all trades, as a master of media. And there's a specific reason I do that. And that has come after a while, realizing how much I do and how well I do most of what I do. So I started navigating the space of understanding the arts of digital storytelling, telling a story on digital platforms. So there is storytelling, which is just what I'm doing now, telling you stories. But digital storytelling is an actual art. And most people don't get to appreciate that it's an actual art, that is an actual process. I believe most of you, if you run a business, there's probably been somebody who has come to you and say, oh, I can manage your social media for you because, you know, I have a Facebook account, therefore I can manage your Facebook account. There is also the other side where they're IT specialists, my colleagues like Brian and my amigo, but they will tell you that I am an IT person, but I cannot tell a story, so I'm not going to be able to perfectly brand this website as it should be done. So that's when I started working with other young people together. I think, I can't see him, but there's my colleague Ben in the house, who we've worked together for the past 7 years, building up my media company to where it is now. I have my team of almost 11 staffs and colleagues. If you see a group in blue t-shirts, those are part of my team. So we work together. And I started figuring out that process. What does it actually take to be successful in digital storytelling? So I think I figured out the process, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But now in 2018, there were other young people who were getting in the same space, and they would be like, I see you're doing so well in this digital space. I also want to do the same. So in 2018, I established the Ntha Foundation. It's a legacy of mine. The main aim is just to empower other young people to be able to do what I have done, maybe even better. And in 2019, we did that through the way of a fellowship. We have trained, I think, through the fellowship specifically, about 50 people. We look more for quality and less quantity, but we have trained about 50 people, giving them the necessary skills that they need to be able to start a business and also leverage digital platforms. And in 2020, something interesting happened. So when I was starting out my business a while back, I had a plan. I said, it's going to take Malawi about 10 years to digitize. And when I talk about Malawi digitizing, it's something as basic as I'm a YouTuber, probably have the biggest followings on YouTube in Malawi, and that's just about 1,000 people. So you know how badly we're doing as Malawi. If I'm one of the best and I have 1,000 subscribers, you know? So people would say, I want to watch your YouTube videos. My God, the data, I can't afford to. I love reading your blog, but I wish you could just print it for me so I can just read it, because I can't always afford to come on the website. So I think we're all celebrating now, knowing we have Pansetse. I hope we're all happy about it. I'm most excited because I'm like, oh, finally people can watch my videos on YouTube. without worrying about that their data is going to be depleted. So in 2020, what was the most thing that happened was, and this is a very sensitive one, but the best thing that happened to digital entrepreneurs was COVID-19. COVID-19 was the best thing that happened to digital entrepreneurs. Look around you. This is being live streamed. And I'll tell you, those people have made money over the past 2 years. Because everything now is on digital platforms. Everything now is online. So there has been that crazy growth. I'll talk of myself as a blogger. I went from going to clients to say, can I blog about your business? And they would ask me, what is a blog and why should I be on your blog? To now being overwhelmed and people coming to me and say, can you please talk about my brand? I want to be on Facebook. Suddenly, we went from going to clients to say, can we help you brand your website? And they'd be like, why do I need a website? To now being overwhelmed by clients where everybody is trying to get on digital platforms. Everybody is trying to be on social media. So with the coming in of COVID-19, what was initially my 10-year plan became something that had to be implemented pretty much immediately. What I said, Malawi is going to be there in 10 years, but now I was like, this has to happen now, and we have to scale and grow. And I don't know if it's luck or preparation, I think I want to talk about the importance of preparation. It's important to have a plan. I think for me, when I'm going in business, I will always have where I want to be. So when COVID-19 came, it found me prepared. When digitization came, I was very prepared. I had a plan for what I was trying to do, what I was ready to do. And even though it's been very overwhelming, I had a very clear plan of where I wanted to be. Did I know where I was going to get the money? No. But that's when, I think, when we started the Nyanya's Fellowship, which was focusing on digital skills, and the beauty of what I'm going to talk about a bit later, why your business needs to be digitally connected. I started the fellowship and I was sharing on my social media, just for my own personal sharing. So we're teaching young people in digital skills. And I got a call from the officers at the Digital Malawi project. And they said, we have seen that you are sharing, that you're teaching people digital skills. There is a grant of $250,000 where we want young people to train other young people in digital skills. And that was not growth I was expecting. That's not something I'd prepared for. It's not something that I'd even thought about. And I went home and I said, no, I can't do it. And my partner was like, why not? You can. Why not? Apply. So I started the process and it was very hectic. And I went through the application, crystallizing my ideas. But the good thing is this found me prepared. I already had a plan and now it was just time to execute. So over the past year, we have grown in very magnificent ways. We have established 2 hubs. There is one here in Lilongwe and there is one in Mangochi. We have, I think, one of the first e-learning platforms in Malawi. And we are also launching an e-lancing platform. That's a banner that you're seeing there called Wealth Africa. Probably also one of the first e-lancing platforms in Malawi. So just to brief you about my company, Bien Corp is a network of business development and media production specialists. We offer digital solutions for good of African brands seeking to maximize growth and revenue through digital strategy and optimization. So we're storytellers, and I think my company is an intersection, ideally, of 3 components, which is the creative industry, the media industry, and then the digital industry. So we are creatives at the basis of it. So we have to be creative. We have to find a creative way of telling stories. And then we do that through media. And when that media is created, we disseminate through digital platforms, through websites, through platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and the like. So that's just a brief about my company. I will be around. So if you need my card, obviously, I'll be able to share more about what we do. And one of my favorite innovations is Digi Africa. So when I was starting out in 2018, with Digi Africa, it was about young people and digital skills. I grew up around my mother's computer. So my digital journey didn't just start 10 years ago. It started way before, but I was playing solitaire and pinball on my mom's computer, the best things that I loved growing up. And I realized how privileged I was to be able to have those digital skills, something as basic as how to turn on a computer. Most young people don't have that. So with the assistance from the Malawi government through the Digital Malawi project, we started training young people, and they really love it. So it's something that I really enjoy doing. So we have trained so far about 300 young people in digital skills, and we started creating an e-learning platform. So the e-learning platform was created, and it was awarded as the EdTech Innovation of the Year, which was also one of the highlights of my career. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, so in terms of the primary industries, like I said, we work in the creative industry, media industry, and tech industry. So as you can see, it's a collaborative effort. It's not just a one-man job. When I identify as a jack of all trades, I can do a little bit of what is there, but not everything. The people that we serve, they're in the education industry. We have a lot of clients in the tourism industry, some in the fashion, and some in the events industry. And now, talking about the actual art of digital storytelling and why your business needs to be on digital platforms. So I liked that, especially Maya touched a lot about the startup, so I think I don't have to repeat what he said. But now it's about, now that you have a startup, why is it very important that it be on digital platforms? The world now, with the coming of digital, has opened up. The world is completely interconnected. We almost say the world is now borderless. So when you're thinking of, and I think if you see my branding in my company, it's Collans Africa, Digi Savvy Africa, because I don't just think Malawi. I'm not just thinking Lilongwe. I'm thinking much bigger than just what we have here. And I can only think in that way because of digital. So it gives us not just one country, but now 52 countries across Africa and even beyond, where you can be able to trade. I believe now there's a lot of people ordering stuff from outside, bringing them in, shipping them in. People are building their houses with stuff from China. So it's a completely digital world. And how can your business benefit from being digitally connected? So you find clients online. So that's where you need to have perfect branding. And this is where I talk about the actual art. So as a storyteller, what is most important is the story itself. What is your brand story? What is the heart of your story? And I think if I engage with a client, I'll start by asking, why did you found this business? Why did you start? So that's something that you have to clearly communicate to your audience. And this is before you even get digital. You must have proper branding for your business. If you look at my brands, all of them have logos, nicely done. They're curated and created by my team. They're proper thought processes where we actually think around to say, what are we doing and why this logo? There will be like maybe 3 ideas, some are stricken down. So it's proper communication to say, what am I? Like today, when I was coming here, for example, I was thinking, what color should I wear? And as you can see, I'm in navy blue. And if you look at the brand that's on the screen, it's also navy blue. So it's intentional effort with branding. You know, you have to be very intentional about every single detail. Everything that you're doing must be part of the bigger picture. So when you brand your business, now it's about, let's get it on digital. So after you've branded, obviously you already need a graphic designer. You already need a writer. If we're going into media, you need a photographer. You need a videographer, and you can already feel the spirit of Collins coming out, where we all need to be able to work together to digitize Africa. If all of our businesses are going to get on digital platforms, it's going to take more than just one person doing it. It's going to take more than just IT specialists creating websites. It's going to take more than just photographers taking the photos and taking the videos that they're taking here. We have to have a systemic way of working together to make sure we achieve that together. So Malawi right now is not digitized, if we're to be honest. We are just starting. It's only now, I mean, now we even have Zoom meetings and we're still like, can you please mute yourself? We're still in that phase, you know, we're like, please mute yourself. Or people will be like, oh, how do I share my screen? I don't know how to join the meeting. We have all of those. So we're still very much paper-based. And we're moving now from digitization. So if you're looking at the 3 steps I have there, we're still in phase 1. But being in phase 1, yes, it's a bad thing for our country. But for young people in Malawi, it's a great opportunity for business. It's a great opportunity for us because it means there's a lot of work for us to do. So there's so many digital solutions that are to be created, like the works of what Maya and teams are doing, the works that Brian Longwe are doing. So those are more advanced, where they're already working in the digitalization space. But Malawi is still trying to get to say, can I please get this form online? Can I just be able to fill it online so I don't have to come and stand at the bank? I mean, I don't have my national card, my national ID right now, because I've gone there and I've stood in a line 3 times just to get my national ID. And it's a problem in our country, but the good news is it's a business opportunity for someone out there. So one thing I love about business is we must always face problems as opportunities for business. So when you go, for example, when I was at the NRB and I was frustrated, yes, I was annoyed because they were wasting my time, but I was also like, okay, so this is an opportunity for business. So I always have my business cards, and I always say, okay, but this is not working. So actually, one thing I say is, as Malawians, we like to complain a lot, and I was talking about us on social media. So if I see a business is not working and there's something that I can contribute to, I'll say, I don't like this, here's my business card, let's see how we can assist. You know, I'm offering a solution, as opposed to, oh, this was so annoying, let me go to Twitter and let me talk about how horrible this experience was, when that was a business opportunity for you to make money. So digital transformation will be the very last phase, where now we have all moved and we're very well advanced in terms of being in the digital space. I'm part of the Vestavella Foundation Young Founders Program. So I have a mentor from Germany, and it's made me realize how well behind we are, because I think we're talking about the business that we do, and it's like, we have computers where young people can come and access computers, and we have to provide internet. And he was so surprised that, oh, computers are a luxury to you guys, and internet is very expensive that side. Like, for them, it's like, this is basic. You know, you have a computer, you have internet service provision. I think I was even in Cambodia at a point, and we were traveling, a group of us. So we didn't have cards, and we would be moving in the city, and our phones would be switching from one restaurant to the other as internet connection. So we would be getting Wi-Fi from this restaurant in a bus, and once we pass, we get the next one. So we're continuously connected, and I was like, this is really interesting. And I'd love to see for Malawi to get to that. And the good news for all of us, for the young people, is these are all business opportunities. We're talking about 1 million jobs. And these are the jobs, these are the opportunities for us to do this business. And I think there are opportunities where, as I think Maya also mentioned, that there's so many grants, so many opportunities out there where we can be able to create nice businesses, good concepts, prepare, and then help digitize Malawi. So what we're focusing on is getting to a Malawi that is digital. A Malawi where, if I'm looking for any service provider, if I'm looking for Miko's, for example, if I want to go to Miko's restaurant, I love your food, by the way. If I want to go there, I should be able to say, oh, I want the menu. What do they have today? What special offers do they have today? It should come directly in my mailbox. So if you have a business in the audience, if you want to interact with your audience, then you have your mailing list, you have your website, your social media must be up to date and well branded. That's a means of communication, and I think we all know by now that mainstream media is dying out. I think probably Malawi might be one of the last ones, but most of the world, everything now is online. Nobody is really using TVs anymore. So come what may, digital media is the future, and you do need to get on digital. So my offer to you, for especially today, is if you have a business and you would like to get on digital platforms and you don't know where to begin, I will be around. I think my team are also around, so we can talk how to help you get online. We have a lot of clients that we've worked with, and each brand has been a story. I've enjoyed every moment, I think, with my team. So we have clients in all different types of fields, and I think we'd love to also work with you to see how we can assist. In terms of the Colans platform, the most important thing about it was that if we're going to digitize Malawi, it's not just going to be 2 people or 3 people. It's everybody. All the photographers, all the IT people, all the writers like myself, all the graphic designers, we need to have a space where we can work together. So we have crystallized that process as Colans Africa, where we are working together to be able to digitize Africa, and we hope that you can also work with us. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nthanda. Before she leaves the stage, maybe she can take 3 questions, strictly 3 questions from the audience. Yes, we have a hand. And another hand.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I'm really inspired. I'm playing Star Wars. So I've got a question on the team builder. Yeah, I understand for all what you have explained, to work you need a team. And I'm looking at the pattern of the team as well as the makeup. So I want to ask, what has been the driving force behind the team that you have? And the last question is, it seems like you've got a lot to do on the table. How do you manage doing that? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that question. So the spirit of a team, like I said, I think I have my team of about 11 people in the house, and it really does take a team effort. One thing I say is I hire by heart. So education is very important. Obviously, all my staff have to be educated, but I want somebody who's very, especially in a startup setting, I want somebody who understands my vision, who understands what I'm trying to do, and who is willing to also do the work, because the startup is not like, I used to work with MRA, so it's not an established statutory corporation where, you know, if I can come here and do the usual Malawian thing, leave my jacket on a chair and start dozing. You know, that doesn't work in a startup. So I need somebody who understands the vision, but also is willing to do the work, to pull through, do the late nights sometimes, show up for things. So I think if you can get people who understand your vision and are willing to go the extra mile with you, then you probably will succeed. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. I know my team are probably looking at me and looking away right now. It's not easy. It's a process. And to get to a point where you're all in sync and all moving in the right direction, it takes time. In terms of doing a lot of things at once, it's crazy, it's hectic. Yeah, I think Harry was talking about Maya, and they were talking about sleep and what time do you sleep and how you're going to Ntha. Yeah, it's very true. So for me, when I wake up, I wake up at 8, I sleep. I wake up at 8, and I'm pretty much working continuously until I drop, which is around 10 p.m. Then I'm out, and I'm up again. So that process for me, I have to compartmentalize. When I start my day, proper planning is very important. I think also when I speak to my team, I don't know, maybe I bully them, but I tell them, give me a daily planner every day. What are you doing today? And I do that with myself as well. So when I'm starting my day, I say, what am I going to achieve today? I need to do thing A and thing B and thing C. So by the end of the day, then I check myself as well to say, what did I achieve today? Did everything I had on my planner, was it done? And I've also tried to have my team also practice the same. So when you're doing a lot, it's really good to have that planner to be able to check to say, I want to do thing A, B, C. But also I think for me also, it really works if I do less, don't take like, okay, what works for me? Like 4 hours working on one thing, I lose productivity. So I'll like take 2 hours and concentrate on one thing. When I lose inspiration, I move on to the next, do that. When I move on to the next. So I think that also really works well for me. Yeah.
Okay, the second question.
All right. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think in the space of digitalization, creativity is important as well as innovation for you to be successful. My question to you is, since 2012, 10 years, a decade is not a joke. I want to know from you, because I'm passionate about digital a lot, like what keeps you updated? How do you learn new things? What means do you use to learn new things? Or you're just, okay, I think I'm here, it's okay. What means do you use to keep yourself updated? Because the world is changing, and it's changing very fast, that if we are not catching up, we'll be out of the roof. So my question is that, how do you keep yourself into the space of learning new things? Thank you.
All right, that's a really nice question. Thank you. When it comes to business and life in general, I think I always say stay curious. And I know most of us, maybe we want to think of ourselves as brilliant or really smart, but I think there's always something new to learn. There's always something new that you can find. So I think if you see my presentation, I'm actually presenting it live from Canva. I didn't even know I could do that. Yeah, and Canva is like a digital platform, which is one of my favorite things, by the way. So there is always something new to discover, and I think you have to stay open to knowledge. And as you say, things in the digital space especially, they move so fast and so differently that what we're doing today, probably tomorrow won't matter, you know? So the processes you figure out today, probably in the next moment, they don't matter. So you have to adapt very fast. Like for me, again, I speak with reference to my team. They know that I can overhaul a whole process overnight and say, we're not doing that anymore, we're doing this because something has changed or we have discovered new information. So I would say stay curious and always be willing to adapt. Stay true to the vision. You know what you want to achieve, but the processes can always change, and you must always be willing to uptake new information. I love Twitter. I think, as Maya said, if you use social media right, then you can always find very useful things on digital platforms, but also you can also use the same to waste your time. So digital platforms are also a great thing, a great way to learn as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that was the last question. Because of time, I think we'll save the other questions during the time that we're having our networking. So we need to give an opportunity to the other speakers as well. So thank you so much, Nthanda. A big round of applause for her.